You already know something most men your age were never told. And what you are about to discover in the next few minutes will quietly change the way every woman around you experiences your presence. Most men spend their entire lives believing that attraction is something that happens to them. Like weather, like luck, something outside their control. They try harder, they talk more, they buy better clothes, they work on their appearance, and they still walk away from conversations with women feeling like something invisible is working against them. No one ever sat them down and said, "The problem is not what you are doing, it is what you do not yet understand. This was never your fault." The psychological truths women respond to most deeply are not taught anywhere. Not in schools, not by fathers, not by any culture that raises boys into men. So those men, good men, sincere men, men who genuinely want real connection, keep reaching for something they cannot name and wondering why it stays just out of reach. Stay until the fourth secret. Most men who hear it say the same thing afterward. They say, "I have been doing the opposite my entire life." If this channel is new to you, tap like now. Every video here goes deeper into the psychology of genuine human connection. And this one goes very deep. Research in social neuroscience has established something that most people find surprising when they first hear it. Women are not primarily attracted to what a man has. They are attracted to how a man makes them feel about themselves when they are near him. Dr. John Gottman, professor emeritus at the University of Washington and one of the most cited researchers in relationship psychology, spent over 4 decades studying how emotional attunement, the ability to sense and respond to another person's inner world, determines whether connection deepens or quietly dies. His findings are consistent and clear. The men who create lasting emotional impact are not the most impressive men in the room. They are the most present ones. Most men never learn this. They are building credentials when they should be building awareness. And the women around them feel that difference even when they cannot put it into words. What you are about to learn is not manipulation. It is not a game, a script, or a performance. It is the psychology of how real human connection actually works. And when your intention is honest, when you genuinely care about the person in front of you, these truths become natural. They become who you are. The first secret is what psychologists call reflected significance. Dr. William James, the father of American psychology, wrote over a century ago that the deepest craving of human nature is the need to feel appreciated. Not complimented, not admired from a distance, appreciated, seen, specifically and genuinely recognized for something real. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what James intuited. When a person feels truly seen by another, the brain releases oxytocin, the bonding neurochemical, at levels comparable to physical touch. The emotional experience of being genuinely noticed creates the same chemistry as closeness. Most men compliment women. They say, "You look beautiful. You are so smart." They mean it, but generalized compliments slide off the surface. They do not land deeply because they could have been said to anyone. What creates reflected significance is specificity. It is noticing the particular, the detail that only someone truly paying attention would catch. Imagine this. You are at a dinner, maybe 8 or 10 people, conversation moving around the table. She makes a point about something and the group moves on quickly. The moment passes. But 20 minutes later, when there is a pause, you circle back. You say, "What you said earlier about that, I have been thinking about it. It was more insightful than I think people realized." She goes quiet for a second, not because she is embarrassed, because something just landed in her chest. Because in a room full of people, you were the one who was still carrying what she said. That communicates something no compliment reaches. It communicates you are worth returning to. I do not forget what matters. This is not a technique, it is attention. And real attention is one of the rarest things one human being can offer another. The second secret is the power of unfinished space. Here is something that almost no one teaches men about conversation. Women do not need you to fill the silence. They need you to hold it. There is a profound difference between those two things, and most men never discover it. Dr. Carl Rogers, founder of humanistic psychology and one of the most influential therapists of the 20th century, built his entire therapeutic philosophy around the concept of unconditional positive regard. One of its most powerful expressions is what he called the non-anxious presence. The ability to be with another person in their experience without rushing to fix, reframe, or resolve it. His research showed consistently that people feel most deeply understood not when they are spoken to, but when they are listened to, without the listener's need to respond immediately. Most men are uncomfortable with silence. When a conversation pauses, they move to fill it. They add a thought, redirect, or joke to release the tension. What this communicates, without any intention behind it, is that what she she just shared was too much to simply sit with, that it needs to be moved past, and she feels that, not as rejection, as a subtle message that this space is not quite safe enough to be unfinished in. The man who has learned to hold silence creates something rare. He creates a room inside himself where her words can land, settle, and breathe. He does not rush her forward. He stays with her in the moment she is in. Imagine this. She is telling you something that matters to her, something she has carried for a while. She finishes and looks at you, and you do not say anything right away. You hold her gaze. You let the moment be what it is. And then, slowly, you say something simple. Something true, something that shows you were entirely there. The silence before your response was not emptiness, it was presence, and she felt every second of it. The third secret is what I call the steady center. A woman in her early 50s told me something I have never forgotten. She had been married once, briefly, to a man she described as wonderful in many ways. But she said this: he needed my approval to feel okay, and I loved him. But I could not be his mirror every day. It was exhausting. And eventually, I realized I was not drawn to him the way I wanted to be. I was more like his emotional anchor than his equal. She paused and said, what I wanted was a man who was already okay, who did not need me to confirm it. Dr. David Schnarch, clinical psychologist and author of extensive research on adult intimacy, calls this differentiation: the capacity to maintain your sense of self while staying emotionally connected to another person. It is not detachment, it is not coldness. It is the groundedness that allows you to be fully present with someone without dissolving into their emotional state or requiring their validation to remain stable. This is not about being indifferent. It is about understanding and respect for yourself and the other person. None of this works without genuine care for who she is. But that care has to come from a settled place inside you, not from a place of needing her approval to feel whole. Women feel the difference between a man who is genuinely present and a man who is monitoring her reactions to see how he is doing. One feels like safety, the other feels like weight. Imagine this. You have said something she disagrees with. She pushes back, not aggressively but clearly, and you do not fold immediately. You do not get defensive. You consider what she said, genuinely, and then you respond from your actual perspective, calmly, with curiosity about hers. You do not need her to agree with you for the conversation to feel okay. That steadiness, that settled quality, communicates something that goes very deep. It communicates, I am not a reed that bends to every wind. I can hold my ground and still hold you. And she feels, without being able to explain exactly why, that you are someone she can lean on. Now, this is the moment I told you to stay for. Most men who hear this fourth secret say the same thing. They say they wish someone had told them this 30 years ago. The fourth secret is what psychologists call the emotional witness. Dr. Dan Siegel, clinical professor of psychiatry at UCLA and founding co-director of the Mindful Awareness Research Center, has written extensively about what he calls feeling felt. His research shows that the experience of being emotionally witnessed, of having your inner experience accurately received and reflected back without judgment, activates the same neural pathways as physical safety. The brain does not distinguish easily between being emotionally understood and being physically protected. Both register as, I am safe here. Most men were taught, directly or indirectly, that emotions are problems to be solved. That when a woman expresses something painful or uncertain, the correct response is to fix it, minimize it, or redirect towards something more manageable. This feels like help. To her, it often feels like dismissal. The emotional witness does something entirely different. He does not fix. He reflects. He says, in whatever words feel natural, I can hear that. That sounds genuinely difficult. He does not race to the solution. He does not share a worse version of the same problem to create perspective. He simply confirms that what she is experiencing is real and that he is capable of being with her inside it without needing it to be over quickly. Imagine this. She is frustrated. Not at you. Just frustrated at something that has been building. She explains it, and you can see immediately how it could be resolved. But instead of offering the solution first, you say, that sounds exhausting. How long has this been sitting with you? And she exhales, actually exhales. Not because the problem is solved, because for one moment, someone sat down inside her experience with her instead of trying to pull her out of it. That moment of being witnessed, truly witnessed, creates more emotional closeness than almost anything else you can offer. It communicates, your inner world matters to me. I am not in a hurry to leave it. This is not manipulation. It is understanding. And when it comes from a place of genuine care, it is one of the most powerful things one human being can give to another. If this is connecting with you right now, this is exactly the kind of depth this channel offers every single week. Subscribe and turn on notifications. What comes next goes even further than this. The fifth secret is what I call the long memory. This one requires nothing dramatic. It requires only that you pay attention and that you hold what you learn about someone over time. Research in interpersonal neurobiology shows that humans are wired to feel connected to the people who remember them accurately, who carry the details of their lives without being asked to, who demonstrate through their memory that what was shared mattered enough to stay. Most men listen in the moment. They are present during the conversation and then the details fade. Not because they do not care, because they were never taught that memory is a love language. That the act of remembering someone's specific experience, their particular fear, their quiet hope, their offhand story about a difficult summer 3 years ago, communicates something that no grand gesture can replace. A woman in her 60s once told me about a man she had known for nearly a year. She said, he remembered everything, not in a strange way, in a way that made me feel like I was real to him, like I was not just someone he was talking to in the moment, I was someone he was actually getting to know. She said that was when she realized she had fallen for him. Not because of anything he did, because of what he held. Imagine this. Weeks ago, she mentioned briefly that she had been dreading a particular conversation with someone in her life. She mentioned it once and moved on. And then one day you ask her, gently, how that conversation went. Not as a prompt, not strategically, just because you remembered and you wondered. She stops for a moment, because she has to recalibrate. Because most people would not have remembered. And the fact that you did tells her something about how you hold her. It communicates, you are not just present in the moment, you are present across time. And there is almost nothing more intimate than that. Let us come back to what all 5 of these secrets share at their root. Reflected significance, unfinished space, the steady center, the emotional witness, the long memory. None of them require money. None of them require physical perfection. None of them require you to be younger than you are or different than you are. Every single one of them requires only that you be more aware, more present, and more genuinely interested in the person in front of you than the average man has ever been taught to be. This is not about impressing women. It is about understanding them. And the men who understand them, who genuinely do the inner work to become this kind of presence, do not chase connection. They become the kind of men that connection finds. Most men will never know any of this. They will spend the rest of their lives confused by a language they were never taught. But you are here. You have been here for the whole conversation, and that tells me something about who you are choosing to become. Leave the word witness in the comments if something in this video landed for you. That single word tells me this reached you. Like this video, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it. What is coming next on this channel goes even deeper into the hidden psychology of what women feel in the presence of certain men, and why some men become unforgettable while others simply fade. You will not want to miss it.